Buenos días, gracias por el espacio. Vamos a platicar aquí, estamos con el maestro Jeremy H y le vamos a hacer algunas preguntas sobre el English Academic Training. Okay? Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine and very happy to be in Chihuahua for only the second time in my life.
We are very grateful that you're here. The university feels really happy that people like you come here to share their experience with us.
Well, I'm so pleased about the university here because in my life I never came to Chihuahua before.
Wow.
My contact with the university, so it's been a great pleasure to be here and come here. And we need to speak up as much as we can. So I'm going to shout.
Thank you. Well, this English academic training, like you said, is the second time it's here. So what's your specific role in it? How do you see yourself in this program?
I think if you come here from the outside, and if you only come here for 2 or 3 hours, it's not like you can offer a training course.
Okay.
Now, if I came here for a week or 2 weeks, we could go through a whole program of training and development and things like that. So, but I can't do that because I'm only here for a few hours.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that the role of someone like me is to come here and, if you like, plant a few little, not bombs exactly, that's too strong, but little kind of fireworks, cohetes, sort of just to provoke some thoughts in people. Have a little think, and if I'm lucky, also to give the teachers here a positive experience.
Right.
Because in the midst of our daily lives, the lives of teachers, which are, as we discussed before, which can be fantastic and glorious, but also sometimes frustrating and tiring. In the midst of all that, I think a chance to be together and have a positive experience is really important.
So we could say that you come here like to bring some sort of spark in teachers, right?
If the magic works, that's exactly what.
Well, you're the match.
What I hope to do. That, if I may say so, is a wonderful sight. Thank you. Yes, if the magic works, that's the idea. Now, working with you and your colleagues and everybody else, we talk the same language. We're teachers. The only advantage I have is that you don't see me every day.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. So hopefully that's just a little bit different.
Like a breath of fresh air, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is all supposing that it works. And you never know. It's like when you go into a lesson. You think it's going to work.
But you never know.
But you never quite know what's going to happen.
So now, I think you kind of answered, but how do you think this is important, this training? Because you said it's important, like to make the magic work. But how is important for teachers to come here and take part in this project?
I don't know about you, but people often say to me, "What do you think the greatest quality a teacher should have is?"
Okay.
And I don't know how you'd answer that question. You might say
Determined.
Enthusiasm, determined.
Yeah.
Again, we've talked about this before, you and I. Perseverance, empathy.
Empathy is really important.
All that.
Curiosity.
But that's the one that I think, that's the one that stands out for me. Curiosity. Teaching is, of course, it's an art as well as a science. It's a very creative profession.
Yeah.
If you give it your whole heart, it's fantastic. But we can all remember from our past teachers who were no longer curious, who just taught.
Yeah.
That's okay, but the students know who they are, and they kind of go, yeah.
The
But
bad teacher.
Well, I don't think I would ever call a teacher bad. Well,
No, the bad teacher.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Yeah, exactly.
But teachers who are curious, who are interested in everything around them, interested in new ideas, new developments, but not just in teaching, but also in the world around them. If you have that sort of spark of curiosity, the students can see that and feel it. And my own sense is that if you're asking your students to be curious, and I'm very passionate about saying to the students, learning English is something you do, not something I can do for you.
Exactly.
And that means they have to go and get English and be curious and want it and get excited. Well, if I'm not any of those things, how can I expect them to be those things?
Yeah.
And anyway, and if you get to my kind of age, which is horrifically old now, without curiosity, you just go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I've been around for years, but there's just so much interesting stuff out there. And that really interests me as a concept. So I'm coming about this in a very roundabout way, but the whole point of these events, and it doesn't matter whether it's me speaking or somebody else or whoever else it is, the whole point of these events is just to spark people's curiosity.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of,
What's going on? What can I do better as a teacher? Right?
yes, or maybe I haven't thought of that, or I've thought of that before, but
I thought it might not
she's
work.
saying it in a different way,
Yeah.
or something like that.
When we're talking about curiosity, I think technology and the advances that we have now, that we are pretty connected in several different ways through several different kinds of channels. How do you think we use technology now, with having all of these resources, to improve teaching?
That's a huge question which we ask ourselves all the time. But the first thing I'd say is just have a look at this. This is your phone.
Yeah.
And 8 years ago, 10 years ago, what you do with this phone would have been unthinkable. But now you do it. If you want to talk to a group of people, you go here. If you want to pay something with your bank, you go here. If you want to book a cinema ticket, you go here. If you want to check Facebook or Instagram, you go here.
Yeah.
If you want to phone someone, you go here. If you want to find out which part of where somewhere is in Chihuahua, you go here. If you want to, now, for me, that kind of technology is instantly available for teaching and learning, and in some ways convinces me more than really complex technology designed especially for teaching and blah 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 blah. I think we can harness this kind of thing instantly. So why not use WhatsApp, for example, in teaching? Why not you get students to Google things in class? Why not get students to make little videos and upload them to YouTube? Why not? All that kind of thing. But I think what I'm saying is, at the beginning, when technology first came into the world of education, we treated it as if it was something different.
Yeah.
Something special, something, mysterious. But actually, we use this stuff in our lives so much that I can't see why we shouldn't just use it with students as well.
Right?
Yeah, just in a natural way.
Yeah, because I think that before we used to see the phone as an intruder in classes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, don't use your phone. But now it's kind of impossible. So it's like, if it's something that it's worth using in your daily life, why not use it to communicate effectively in English or any other language?
I couldn't agree more. I'd also say that one of the things that there's a tremendous desire to get students to use their phones, and I'm very sympathetic to that. At the same time, the danger of that is that if students are all using their phones individually, you end up with students doing this.
Yeah.
Like all the jokes about the married couple going out for dinner, and all they'll do is look at their phones, and you think, that's not going so well. In some ways, getting 3 or 4 students around a screen Googling and doing things together as a group is more powerful in some ways in technology for me. By the way, I'm not saying for one second that some of the educational software is not good. Of course it is. But what I am saying is that whereas, and I'm guilty of this, when all this stuff first started arriving into the world of language teaching, we were all a bit kind of, this is a bit,
I don't know how to use it.
I don't know how to use it. And it's like a new religion had arrived. But it turns out
It's helpful.
It's just there. It's what we do. All of us have this in our lives, so we might as well use it.
Jeremy, I think what you have told us today is really important. as teachers and also as students. I don't know if you have like some sort of final thought or something you would like to share us from this experience that you're about to go to.
Yes, I think you have to be careful with people like me, because despite everything I've said, we tend to come along and say, hey, look at this, isn't this wonderful? But in the end, teaching is hard work. Teaching is a constantly challenging task, and it can be relentless. But when it goes well, the rewards are fantastic. And I think what we need to remember is that the times when it isn't going so well, we've all had that. But that's not all the time. That you never quite know what effect you're having. A story which I may tell later. I met a teacher in New Zealand, of all places, and she was retired. And she seemed a bit tired, retired and tired, and not enormously happy. And she was supposed to join me and a group of other people for a dinner one evening, but she said, I can't go to this dinner because I can't come to the dinner because I've got another arrangement. Okay. And when I saw her the next day, this teacher, who'd seemed to be a bit like this, was just floating on air. And she looked about 10 years younger.
Wow.
And I said to her, hi, did you have a good evening? And she said, it was fantastic. Well, she said, I went to a high school reunion of a class, an 18-year anniversary of a high school class, 18 years after their high school graduation.
Oh, okay.
And the students had invited me. And when I got there, they told me, 5 of them told me I was the best teacher they had in the school.
Wow.
And that I'd really made a difference. And she was so happy. She just felt so fantastic. Refreshed and everything. And that's, I guess, what you have to remember. That I suppose, I mean, we're all human. I suppose what you'd like is at the end of every lesson, you'd like all the class to rise to their feet and give you a standing a round of applause. But that doesn't happen. It's just life, But you just don't know the effect you might have. And when the magic works,
it works wonders.
It's magic.
I think that's a wonderful thing for our audience today, like to let them know that when it works, it does wonders. That teachers always pull through, that their work is something to look up to because they always pull through, no matter the circumstances. So I would like to thank you on behalf of the university. I think that it's really important for us to know that it's important to be always working in the classroom to have a spark, to spark something on the students, and also that every day is a new opportunity to do something great. And we think the same, I believe. It's a great pleasure to see you again, and now let's go to the next round. Go and work your magic. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you very much.